Hey, Christy.
Hey, Will.
How are ya?
Oh, I'm so happy because my bestie's on today.
I thought I was your bestie. What is that all about?
You're my guy bestie. She's my girl bestie.
Okay,
You can
well,
have
who is
more
it?
than one best friend. It's Jessica DiCicco.
I am so excited. Well, let's see what she's got to say.
I hear voices.
Welcome. I think we'd like to start, if you don't mind, by you missed part of a conversation about the beauty that is my hair right now.
Wow. Now that you pointed out.
Thank you.
is-
And
They
then
do
we-
say
Quite
that
a
Will
sight.
has a face for radio.
I
so-
do, which is absolutely true. Absolutely true. And then you were missing a wonderful conversation about the incredible program Naked and Afraid,
Oh, yes.
where I was asking, couldn't it be the same show if people were just wearing pants?
Well,
Which
hold on a
apparently-
second. Plot twist. We actually tweeted because my husband and I are into these survival shows now because
Of
we're,
course.
I don't know. This is like fight or flight. You watch it for 30 minutes and then, as if, you want your kids to go to bed. And I don't know why we watch it. It's a strange thing. But if you haven't, Jess, since you have littles, you might enjoy it too. There might be this weird survivalist thing where when your kids go to bed, you're like, I can't go out and drink. Let me
Oh my
watch a
God.
survivalist show.
Wow,
You
is it
know,
the
I like
equivalent
that
of going to a
idea.
bar?
It's fight or flight. You're like, is he going to get eaten by a bear? I don't know.
But
What
again,
show
is
is
it a
this?
different show if he's wearing shorts? Like, is that?
Sorry,
is it-
Jess. So there's Naked and Afraid, where
Yep.
people are naked and in like the Amazon, and they
A
get
real
bit up by
show?
mosquitoes. Yeah, like
Yes.
that was a very successful show.
It's
and then
just
there's
naked
another
people
show.
that are
I'm
lost.
so out of the loop. This is what happens
Okay.
when you have littles.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
missing so much
And
stuff. Okay. Teach me.
We're
Tell
gonna
me
keep you
everything.
updated. We're gonna do
Please
it.
do.
Anyway, I did tweet Naked and Afraid a few years ago, and they tried to get us to come on that show. Me and Brendan.
Oh my
Plot
God!
twist.
Do
Oh
they
my
blur
God.
out? Do they blur out your?
They were like, no, they emailed us. They were like, if you guys are really interested in being contestants, we'd really be happy.
Wow! And so did you want? First of all, every time I'm naked, I'm afraid. So
You've
let's start
gotta
right
do
there.
it.
But would you have done? Did you guys consider it? Did you talk about? Wow!
No, not like seriously, but we were like, oh my gosh, they're like actually interested. And I think we're so crazy, man. It's okay. I'm so glad we didn't do that. And we're here on our podcast.
Yay, sorry.
We become podcasters.
There's still.
Welcome
Is it
to
still
I
on the
Hear
air?
Voices.
Is there still
Yes,
a chance?
It is.
It is. You can view. Yeah, right? No,
Oh
we're
my
good now.
God.
We're good.
I don't
I've
even
had
wanna
2
know.
babies. We're good on the Naked and Afraid part.
I
am also naked and afraid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Privacy
do
of my
it.
own
That's just the
home.
name of motherhood.
Wow.
Naked and afraid.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Wow.
Ooh, oh
And
man,
in that
Jess, I'm
day,
so
that
happy
show
to
every
see
day.
You. Yes,
You too.
exactly. Jess and I go way, way, way back.
Yeah.
I had assumed that Will and you had met before. Have you guys met before?
I mean, maybe in passing.
Maybe.
Well, that's the funny thing about the voiceover world. So obviously, when the guests come on, you look at resumes and stuff like that. So you and I have been on the same show.
Which shows, guys?
Well, we did Winx Club.
Okay. That I only recorded with other girls, so I know it wasn't there
Exactly.
unless it was like passing in the studio.
Well, no, that's what I mean is like you're on shows with other people, but then you haven't met them, and you're like, oh wow, we were on a
I
show
know,
for years
yeah,
together and have never
it's so
met.
weird.
So funny.
yeah,
I
we
feel
did
like
Winx Club
we
together,
may
but I don't
have
think we met.
crossed paths maybe at like San Diego Comic-Con.
That's
like-
possible.
Like I feel like I remember I like if we did, I think it was there. But
That's possible. With
yeah,
San Diego Comic Con, anyone who's been there knows it's very easy to find people. It's not crowded at all.
yeah.
Simple
Yeah.
to maneuver, all that good fun kind of stuff.
And I'm sure we have a ton of friends in common, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's a small world that we're in, which is
Aw.
thankfully expanding, which is
I
good.
feel
that
like
it's-
you're meeting Jess like my family. See, I've actually known Jessica since I was very young. Jessica was my co-star in my first ever voiceover TV show.
what
which
show
we
was
tr-
this?
it was
We'll
called
talk about it.
Innie and Outie, and we tried very hard to find footage of it and have failed miserably. So
Yeah.
I'm trying.
It's
I
like
think it
in
might
the
not have
deep-
existed. Did we make
Deep
it up?
Nickelodeon
Like-
vaults. No, right? Exactly. Like that was definitely like we must have done mushrooms when we were 12, and then that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I
so basically,
interned there.
what?
Yeah,
You did-
I
you didn't find.
No, so listen, so there's a vault. There's actually a vault. And this is like when I was in college. So this is a while ago. But when it was there's actually a vault in the lobby, and I actually went to the vault, and I'm like, hey, and I peeked in. I feel like there's like VHS tapes, like walls of VHS tapes, like a crazy Harry Potter library. And I feel like I asked for Innie and Outie. I don't know. It's like all like I tried so hard to find
in your
this.
face.
Wow. We all have those shows, though. We all
yeah.
have the Nickelodeon. I would be in the Nickelodeon vault, too. Don't just sit there. Was a Nickelodeon show from 1988 that I started on. So we've all got those. I got slimed.
awesome.
That's how old school Nickelodeon I was. But we haven't met.
Okay. Do you see this? I actually have been slimed as well, so we also have that in common.
Yes, we have a lot in common.
I feel like the
Green
consistency of the slime back in the 80s was like chunky, and now it's like very shampoo.
It was not FDA approved.
I feel like I missed out.
We were also on the set of You Can't Do That on Television in Canada, and I think the rules are a lot less lax in Canada. So, I mean, I really got slimed. Like, I was there with the opening lockers, and
Alistair,
hey, Alistair, hey, Moosey. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
So man, that's a dream.
Old school. Okay, so wait. So walk me through then. Walk me through, because the title alone would sell me. Walk me through Innie and Outie.
Oh, yes. Okay, let's do this. Go ahead, Jess. You do it. We talked about this when you came on my YouTube cooking show. We had a blast.
Yes.
Making bacon pancakes, banana bacon pancakes or something.
Bacon pancakes. Yeah.
Because of her Adventure Time, we always, and I really loved seeing you. So, okay, so Innie and Outie. Go ahead, Jess.
So it actually wasn't animated. It was like stop motion, and it was like live action of belly buttons and Innie and an Outie. So yeah, and like they were like mur, mur, mur. Like it was so weird. Like it's
so
maybe that was a trip, like a mushroom.
Models,
I don't know,
right? I know, right?
They must have been. Yeah.
The models, they would have a master shot just of two bellies, and they would be calling each other on the phone. They would split screen it, right?
This. Yeah,
and they would decorate the bellies with eyes, and they would animate them with stop motion, I believe. And the girls were like belly dancers, so they would move their bellies.
Oh yeah.
And she and I. But here's the ironic thing.
God.
So they hired me and her, right? And they wanted me to have the scratchy kind of fun textured
I love
voice.
it how
and I was
you still remember this. Yeah, like these things when they put you on the spot like that. Yeah.
Oh, especially as a kid, because you're like, but I don't even know how my voice works yet. Like, how am I supposed to do this? But I remember it and being like, oh my God, I love your voice. I've always been in love with your voice, Jess. Always.
Well, before we go any further, I got to know.
We're both raspy. Yeah.
Who's the Innie? Who's the Innie and who was the Outie?
We don't remember, do we?
I think I was Outie. I'm pretty sure I was Outie. You know what? My mom is like borderline hoarder, and I bet I can still find the script somewhere in my mom's house.
Girl, for real. So is mine. For real.
That's not a hoarder. That's a collector. Thank you. As you notice, the stuff piled behind me in my booth here.
I'm also a collector, so I totally get it. This is like very neat.
My wife's different. My wife's like, oh, look, birth certificates. We don't need these. They're just taking up a lot of space.
They're digital.
Yeah.
That's like my
She's
husband.
like, oh, look, kids' shoes. Gone.
Yeah.
Jess, that's amazing. So that was our first, I don't know, was that your first voiceover experience, or where did you start?
One of the first.
I know you started on camera.
It was like both yes, on camera, and then I think like the voiceover stuff started trickling in around the same time, because Will, we both grew up in New York City and had auditioned in New York. You did?
Well, I'm born and raised in Connecticut. I did all my acting in New York.
Wait a minute.
What?
I know blast from the past. One of your neighbors, I'm actually really good friends with. Do you remember Alana Rosenbaum? Or wait, what's her maiden? I can never remember what her maiden last name is. Her name is Alana, and she was like, "Oh, Will was my neighbor in in Connecticut." Hold on.
Oh wait a second. Is her name? Is it Rosenfeld? Rubenfeld. Her dad was Dave Rubenfeld. He built a bunch of the houses. They literally live on my street. Everybody called her dad Cool Dave.
Wait, hold on.
Cool Dave.
Everyone
hear you.
Bad. There.
No,
I
you're
hear
good.
you, Jess.
No, we can still hear you. No,
my phone was like,
everyone called her
Alana Rubenfeld.
Yes, everyone called him Cool Dave.
Oh
I literally passed I passed the house she grew up in yesterday. I was in Connecticut yesterday, and we used to drive to school together occasionally. She was younger than me, obviously.
She's like one of my besties.
You are kidding. Oh, man, I think the last time, I would not be exaggerating in saying the last time I saw her, she was 7?
Wow.
8 years old, maybe? Yeah,
Really,
that's... cool Dave Rubenfeld. Wow.
Yeah, Dave.
Talk
That's
about
awesome.
the
East Coast. Honestly, though, see, this just goes to show you the East Coast is a really small, connected place, especially when you're growing up as a kid actor. And I found it really interesting the way that we all kind of gravitated toward voice acting because we were, on camera people. I mean, Marlo Thomas literally scouted you, Jess, like out of your school.
Yeah. So, growing up in New York, you have so many cool opportunities. And at my school, they look for kids to do things. And I was at PS 87 and they auditioned a bunch of kids and they picked one kid for my school and it was me. And I got to be on this really cool show called Free to Be a Family. You know who else started on that? Donald Faison.
Oh, love
You're
him.
kidding.
Yeah. So we were both on that same show.
So because again, this is where Christy and I were different, is that you started doing voiceover as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and jingles, right?
No, I didn't do jingles.
I thought you did.
No, I never did that, and I didn't do Broadway. Did you do Broadway, too, as a kid?
I did. Yes, I did. Well, yes, I did Lincoln Center eventually, but I was on tour a lot. And so you and I saw each other in a lot of audition rooms, and then I met your little sister, who's the cutest thing ever, and also now a woman and a director.
Yeah.
And you're directing? Oh my God, we have so much to catch up on.
And your dad was in 2 of my favorite movies of all time. So
Which
that's
movies?
a whole nother.
He
was in Night Shift and The Philadelphia Experiment. So I can't even.
I didn't know that your dad was a famous actor. What the hell? I'm the worst podcast co-host ever.
And in 2 of the greatest 80s movies of all time. I think Night Shift is Ron Howard's first film.
Yeah, that's so crazy that you said that because I just did like an interview on my friend's talk show and he's obsessed with Night Shift and we called my dad. It was actually on Father's Day and they asked him questions about Night Shift. He was like the Barney Rubble, what an actor guy.
Yeah, what an actor. My brother. So there is there's a room in my house that it's a bathroom that half of the room is dedicated to movie quotes and there's just pens. And so you can just walk in and write them up on the wall. And Barney Rubble, what an actor, is there front and center.
Yes.
So your dad has made the quote wall.
He made
it's
the
one of the best movies ever. Barney Rubble.
That's so
what
funny.
An actor.
Yeah. So growing up around.
She was Jerry in Splash too. I can't. Oh man.
So that's a sensitive one because he actually had a much bigger part in Splash, and then they ended up cutting a lot of it out just because of the story and whatever. And he was so upset. Who directed that? Ron Howard, right?
Ron Howard. That was another Ron Howard movie. Yeah.
Ron called him and he was like, Bobby, I just, before you come to the premiere and see this, I just want you to know that a lot of your scenes were cut. And my dad was so upset he didn't go to the premiere. He was just so hurt. Yeah. Anyway.
Still in 2 or 3 of the greatest movies of all time. And that's those are just my favorites. I mean, his resume is amazing. But we're not here to talk about him. And I am also not going to hold it against you that apparently you're doing other people's talk shows and podcasts. That's okay.
But what did he think about you getting into the business, though? I am curious.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Nobody, it happened accidentally. Funny enough, my mom took me to an agent before the Marlo Thomas thing, and she was they're okay, say yum, this is good, Mom. And I was like, I can't do that. And I was in 1st grade at the time, and I was like, I can't do that. And she's like, why? I'm like, because you're not my mommy. And so the agent turned right around, sent, handed me off to my mom. God forbid
you have boundaries.
Yeah. And then my mom's like, okay, we're not doing this. And then, and then the Marlo Thomas thing happened. So it happened accidentally. So I think my dad was like, all right, go for it, do it. I'm sure he's I mean, it's just crazy. It goes to show, you just, as an actor, you have zero control. And the fact that my dad's, did book that, Splash and was in all these, scenes. And then that happened to him. It's just and since then he had great things happen also. But it's a tumultuous thing and you have no control as an actor. So
it's
he was
an awful
probably
business.
Scared but like I think he's proud that like, you know, I did it in one, you know, like with the voiceover
Well, you've
thing,
built
like,
what, and so saying, like what you've built is almost like a legacy, and I mean, like I'm talking about it, and I'm being very honest. Like you are one of my favorite voiceover actresses ever.
oh my God, that thank you. Coming from you, that's so nice.
No, seriously,
Thank
you're
you.
up there with like EG and Tara. I feel like you all are
EG.
my top 3. So
I mean, I
hope
grew
I'm
up
in the top
listening
10.
to them,
Thanks, Christy.
so
you're actresses, female voices.
yeah, it's a different category.
But
Come on.
I
kidding,
I adore you.
So then, okay, so we know that for Christy's first one is Innie and Outie. Do you remember what your first ever voiceover gig was?
I think it was that. It's either that or this thing
One of
called
the
The Girl with Her
first,
Head
right?
Coming Off. Yeah, as a kid. And then
Oh my God, I remember that.
You remember?
I remember that was also Nickelodeon. That was also Nickelodeon.
It was the
wasn't it?
shorts. Yeah. Do you have? Were you in that one too? I feel like we were in all of the same things together.
I feel like I
think you might have been in that. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Maybe
I
that's
think
why
I remember.
it.
Do you remember the studio called Hothead Studios that had those like weird puppet things, and you have to climb the stairs to
No.
go into the booth?
No, that's maybe. I've blocked
And they
out.
were
Is this in New York? Are we back in New York?
We're back in New York, and
Okay.
I'm
Poor
you know, I
kids.
wish. Yeah, I remember
Wow.
it so
all that
vividly.
weird 80s studio decor.
Totally,
Okay,
it
so
was
Jess,
totally 80s. Yeah.
when did things get more serious?
Wait a second.
for
I'm
you?
sorry.
What?
Are we
No,
seriously
oh.
just blowing past something called The Girl with Her Head's Coming Off? We're not going to discuss this at all?
Nickelodeon.
You of all people know Nickelodeon in the 90s content was off the wall.
It was
like,
nuts. It was an
Right?
absolute.
You're right.
It was like,
You're right.
we have the big help,
Yeah.
but then we have Ren and Stimpy. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, it's like they
You're
were
totally
trying
right.
so hard.
It was bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah, bonkers.
Yeah, it was
exactly. That's the
weird.
word I would
Yeah.
use. And then,
Bonkers. Just
and
like-
it was fun. We've all been there. In New York, they had their studios, and you would like pray to get a callback to go into the audition.
Oh my God, yeah,
like,
because the
areas.
studio was so cool. I used to
and they
love
still
going
are.
there.
Like, I love going to them still to this day. There was the
I
big
know.
red couch, and now that
I'm so
I have
This
bummed.
was
kids, I
this
like,
still
we
was
don't
this
go to the
back in the
studio
day?
anymore.
Was it so? So for people that don't know, Nickelodeon started in New York, and it was at the Viacom building because MTV, Nickelodeon, they all, and then
Times Square.
Yeah, and then they moved to Florida because we opened the Nickelodeon. My co-hosts and I of that show that Don't Just Sit There. We went and did the 3-hour live opening in Florida, so they moved everything down there. So this was like
they've never gotten
89,
rid of-
91.
New York-
I'm sure they
New
had
York
all
was-
three operating at once.
Okay,
I mean,
so they were still
yeah,
going in New York.
expanded.
Okay, good.
And I
Yeah.
remember like even though I had worked a ton with Nickelodeon in New York, the casting people at Nickelodeon LA was a totally different team. And it took me 7 years to book something at Nickelodeon in LA. 7 years.
That's crazy. That's
Wow.
crazy.
I know.
We have to
I'm
talk
like,
about this.
I'm like, I'm trusted. Like you guys know me. I like cut my
Yeah.
teeth on like doing Nickelodeon stuff. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to work on a show. And then
I'm part of the family. I have the T-shirt.
I had like
You're
that
like, just
lamp
listen to
that
my
like
voice.
I like launched
my.
Noggin. I was like, I did a bunch of like, I do like I did
Yeah.
Nick Jr. promos for like 10 years. Like
Yeah.
I did all those, like I did on camera stuff for them. I did like shorts, like from, anyway, it was just,
Man. So
but anyway,
you
it took
were
a
a
long
fellow
time.
Nick kid.
yes, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes. That's so, again,
But
why didn't we see each other back then?
I have because I'm older than you. I mean, I'm a good. My guess is I'm a
Okay.
good 5 to 10 years older than you. So that I
We're
mean, with
just different
Nickelodeon, you're like,
generations.
yeah, Nickelodeon. But once it's like, hey, kid, you're 16, get out of the building. You're used up. We've used you. Get out. So
Oh my God.
Where do we take this interview though? Like in terms of her timeline.
Oh.
It's just like
well,
there's just so
I mean,
much.
let's keep going. So you started in New York.
Okay.
Doing voiceover, and then you went where from there?
So New York was just like, so that chapter, just to sum it up, was just like, lots of on-camera, lots of running around New York auditioning for like commercials and movies and TV, and like there was voiceovers there, here and there, but there was no animation there. And after I had grown up all, around acting my whole life, I actually decided that I wanted to produce and direct. So I went to college, I went away to school to produce and direct and to be behind the camera. And it was funny though, like literally like the week before I left for college, I got a phone call from these Nickelodeon producers like, hey, we're launching a new network called Noggin. Do you want to be the voice of it? I'm like, I'm leaving for college. They're like, don't worry, fax us your schedule and we will work around your schedule. I'm like, great. So So it was amazing. So I worked all 4 years of college, and then I auditioned for this. I've told the story so many times, but I'll just tell it super fast. I auditioned to be a 4-year-old bear.
Can I just mention something?
Yeah.
The Noggin gig that you had through college, was that not like the best college job that you could have probably had?
Oh my God. It was seriously the best. Just that it's the best job as a mom, too. It's like,
oh, yeah.
Voiceover is just the best.
So can you run us down on what that's like, especially being someone in college, how the consistency of the work and what that was like?
It was great. I mean, I actually wasn't allowed, I wasn't able to go abroad because I was working. So I feel like I kind of like missed out on stuff. But I'm like, no, I'm professional and I'm working and I am not going abroad. It's fine. But
how often would you record? Like when would they just give you a copy every day, every week?
It wasn't, I'd say I'd probably recorded like maybe, so you know how it goes. Like sometimes it's like, a couple times a week, and then you go for like a couple months without doing anything, and then you do like once a week for a stretch. It was very random, and I remember they told me, they're like, we can cut together you saying anything at this point. You have said every single word for us, like over the course of these 4 years, so you better watch out. I kind of wish that they did that, but anyway. Oh my God. And then, oh my God, you'll appreciate this, Christy. So I have a 4-year-old son, and he just got an audition. Like he's like starting to like do it a little bit, not really, but he had an audition for Noggin, like this Noggin thing. I was like, oh
moment.
My God.
Full circle.
Yeah, it was so crazy. It was so cute. But anyway.
I do. I so appreciate that.
Yeah. So then, so I auditioned to be a bear on this like Dumbo Part 2 movie, and the casting person, actually, it was Jamie Roberts, actually. He thought that I was a real kid. And so when
Oh, that's always great.
Yeah, and so
She's
when
got
I went,
a good kid.
and I feel like it was even more nuanced now. Now I'm like but then it was like really like dialed in. I mean, it's still dialed in, but I feel like I was putting, anyway, but so
Can we get a little kid? Can we get a little kid?
After 2 kids, I'm like,
exactly.
Hold on.
This is the fun part. This is putting you on the spot. I love it.
Which I'm totally here for. Okay.
Okay. My name is, I'm a 4-year-old, and I am a bear. And this is what I did to kind of trick Disney casting to think that I was real. So then I went in, and then when I went in, then he said, I was like, hi, I'm Jessica. And he's like, oh no,
wow,
we must have got the wrong person. So then he's like, you should move to LA as soon as you graduate. And I did.
And then, wow.
And then I booked.
Is unbelievably impressive.
So
wow.
Jess, you, yeah, I'm so riveted. I can't even, I'm so impressed by you. But did you always...
Next chapter.
Yes.
The next chapter involves you, because the first show, I booked 2 shows, Disney shows. This one, The Emperor's New School, which was exactly when, at the same time that, Kim Possible was around. Like, we were, of the same, it was Emperor's New School, The Buzz on Maggie. I played Maggie on The Buzz on Maggie, which was my first show. And then Emperor's New School, which ended up going, 3 seasons, which was great.
Yeah.
And so, anyway.
Was Patrick Warburton on that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that's what
groove?
I thought. Patrick Warburton. Hello.
Patrick Warburton. Yeah.
Jess, did you just always know that you had a voice? Was that what is your relationship to your voice? Did you practice being a kid? How did you find your voice?
I didn't know that I could do that until there was just an audition for, I remember this project so well. I think I told you about this, but it was this project for Nickelodeon, and it was about this 4-year-old girl, and I just tried to sound like I just got the audition, and I didn't book the job. I don't remember what happened with that, but
how did you not book that job?
I don't know. I was also this close to being the voice of Blue from Blue's Clues, and I think they decided to not have her talk. But I feel it would have been me. I had 3 callbacks.
What was your Blue's Clues? What was your Blue's Clues sound? What was Blue?
It was basically what I did. It was just
hi, my name is Blue, and it was just basically my
it was just that, because that was when I discovered that I could sound young, And I was like, okay, so I had a taste of this like animation thing, and then it happened when I moved out here. So, and then I jumped into the pool with you guys.
Yeah,
so,
Disney.
Yeah.
Now,
So
did you notice? Wait, I have a question. Did you notice a big difference between the voiceover world in New York City and the voiceover world in LA? Was it hugely different?
Oh,
Such
my
as
God.
what? Like, I'm curious how, because I didn't start voiceover till I was out here. So I never had a single voiceover audition when I lived in New York. I was only doing on-camera stuff. So I'm curious what the difference is between the two.
I'm actually surprised to hear that because I feel like there's just always like voiceover auditions. Like, I don't know. That's really weird. So in New York, first of all, most of it is non-union. None of the big studios are there. So when you come out here, it's like big leagues. You're like in the game. You're like with the best of the best. And I remember, oh my God, just like, wow. Like one of my first jobs was, I can't remember which one was actually first. They happened in the same like couple weeks. One of them was to play like on Jaker's Adventures of Piggly, whatever. So it was like I played like the American cousin, and it was like playing Tara Strong's like cousin, and then I was also on All Grown Up, which was like the spinoff of Rugrats.
Yeah.
So I was in the booth with like Kath Soucie, like Phil and Lil, and E.G. Daily, and who else was in there? I think Tara was there too, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, it was like such an amazing dream come true. And I couldn't believe it. And I was like so nervous. Yeah.
So is that what you felt? I mean, it's seriously, there is a feeling. And again, New York, I imagine it would be exactly the same feeling for a stage actor in Los Angeles that then goes to New York.
You're totally, like, you nailed it.
You know, it's like,
totally.
I am here in the big leagues. I am in New York City. I am near Broadway. This is where I want to be.
Like visceral.
It's got to be that same thing for on camera or a voiceover actor. Like, I'm in Los Angeles. This is where it all happens.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Nailed
totally.
It. Totally.
That would be very, very interesting.
It was just fun to like play with like, like I felt, I don't know, it was just such a great transition, like to come to the big leagues,
So did you feel like you were like, I am now actively going to commit my efforts to focus on voice work, or were you still trying to do other stuff? Like, how did you balance that?
Yeah, so I was.
Because you wanted to be a producer and a director, right? I mean, that was so you know.
Yeah, so my first job out here, like while I was auditioning, was like I was a assistant on this reality show called Married by America, and it's like basically like Love is Blind, but different, but like in a very like rudimentary, like it was very like a very old iteration of that, and I had to sit there at the desk all day, and got paid such garbage and running to get coffee for people, and then all of a sudden I book all these shows. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm doing voiceover.
Well, at least at the end of the day, you got to put out a quality product like a reality show about marrying a stranger,
and I kept
which
them
is where we are in
caffeinated.
society.
Yep.
Which is
caffeinated.
So I want to go back just really quickly to your college experience. So you're going to school and you're studying to be a producer and director, but you're also doing voiceover like what the main voice for Noggin as you're in college.
Yes.
Do your friends know this? Like, does anybody know that you're doing this, or is it just kind of like, I'm doing just on the side, I'm just kind of doing this stuff?
It was so like normal to me. Like, I mean, Christy, like, it's like this stuff was so normal, but I think they did know. Yeah.
Did you go to school in the city? I mean, were you still there? So
No.
you got to do kind of.
No, I made the choice to leave, and that was like a very clear. And you know what? It's interesting because if I stayed in New York, I would have continued to audition, and I feel like I kind of made that choice. And I was auditioning at the end, but right before. Man, I had so much momentum. I was like right before I went away to college. I like I auditioned, like you audition for like these big casting people who do really cool stuff, and I was like audition, like I was going to be like Natalie Portman's understudy in like a play. It was like Anne Frank, The Diary of Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
Jeez.
I know. I know one of the girls that booked that. Yeah.
And I did a great audition, and I didn't get that, but they gave me the part for this like NBC miniseries called Witness to the Mob. They just like gave me the part.
That too.
So and I played Sammy the Bull's daughter.
Yes.
And so, like, you know, and this was like right before I left for college. So I'm like, damn, like if I had stayed, like I wonder, you know.
But that's always,
but
I mean, that's the
whatever.
nature of the business. There's that old saying that they say if it's like, if you really want that audition or you really want that part, you book non-refundable plane tickets on the day of the audition.
Yeah.
So it's that same thing. It's like,
so true.
okay, I'm giving up the business. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to college. And then it's like, hi, excuse me, you've got a Martin Scorsese's on the phone for you?
Right.
You know, it's like
exactly.
that kind of stuff. So you just keep saying college. Is there a reason you don't want to tell us where you went? I'm curious.
I went to
as to where
Syracuse. Yeah, no.
Oh, you
I
did?
went
Okay,
to,
all right. So
yeah. I'm not hiding. I went to Syracuse. I was in the Newhouse School for Communications.
Okay.
Great communications program. That was another reason why I left, because it was like such a kick-ass program.
yeah.
I had a great time there. It was like I ended up like, oh man, I just fell in love with like, you know, like the process of like making something. I had my own show called Quarter Life Crisis, and I just like directed and produced and edited, and I would spend like all day and night just like tirelessly. But I was so happy about it, like editing in the editing bays, and like I ended up like winning this big deal award from like my school because like I made this show. And you know what else? The timing is so crazy. This was also right before YouTube. It was like 1 year before YouTube. Like if I had made this show,
we're definitely not the same age.
During
Yes.
YouTube, like damn, like I would have been like a pioneer of YouTube. You know, like it's just crazy.
Okay,
the timing.
so as an artist, you have to ask this: the quote unquote smaller thing you did in college, but got to build yourself from beginning to end, or the bigger parts that you've gotten. Which one made you feel more accomplished as an artist?
Oh my God, that's a toss up. Like to feel, oh God, I try to like I want to feel that same feeling that from college when you were making your.
You
like,
built it.
I'm gonna direct again. Like now it's crazy because of you know, 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. But at some point,
that
once
is
they're
3
a little
kids
bit
too many
older,
for me.
yeah. That I'm gonna start directing. I'm gonna start making stuff again. I like at
Do
some
it.
point. But yeah, I can't wait.
You should.
Yeah.
You should cast Christy. You guys should go off and do Innie and Outie, the live action
Oh
version.
my God, that's
Well,
genius.
it was live action. Yeah, I love it.
No, but I mean, even it's just
It'll be our stomachs, but it'll be like
Oh, God.
postpartum.
yes.
Innie and Outie.
Oh my God.
Innie
yeah.
and really Innie and really Outie, or wouldn't it just be Outie and Outie? Don't they just pop out when you have a kid? When
Yeah,
you're pregnant,
no.
there's like
Who
no
knows?
Innie
like, yes.
anymore.
It's like
Oh yeah. Actually, we may have to talk offline. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway.
Wow. Anyway.
So how then do you start? You said it took you a lot of time. What did you say? Like 70 auditions to start working in LA?
Oh, no. Okay. So for Disney, I was like I started with Disney right away, and then I was on like 2 big
Right.
shows, and then a bunch of things for Disney, and then it took me 7 years to get into Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, yeah.
Right,
Ah.
7 years. So during 1 year for Disney, and then
Mm-hmm.
then 6 more years, and then but yeah. But with Disney,
Yeah.
I had I've been consistently on Disney shows for a very long time, and right now I have like a lapse, and I'm like, what's going on? Like,
That's always the way it is. I know.
I'm like, what? I feel so weird. Like I don't have it. Yeah.
And then you do, and then you're once again, you're like, that's it. Career's over.
I
Washed
still got
up.
the gift.
I'm done.
I'm done. I got the gift though this year, so I'm like, okay.
Okay, I'm still on.
I'm
I'm still on a mailing list somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, that's always the way it is. Again, I would say plan your first great European family trip, non-refundable plane tickets, no insurance on the trip, and you will book whatever you want that week.
I'm gonna put this to the test.
I'm telling you, did you move out to Los Angeles to pursue acting, or did you move out here because you had a job?
I did not have a job when I first moved out here. I moved out here with a suitcase worth of 2 weeks of stuff. I drove cross country,
I love these stories.
and I just kind of figured it out. And I had it, I had an agent, so I was like auditioning for things, but it wasn't like I had a place to I slept on couches for like a good few weeks, and I was like, oh, I guess I need to get an apartment. Like it was such a fun, exciting time, like. You don't know, like, what you're figuring everything out for the first time. This is also the first time away from, like, my family,
New
like
York is very far
21,
away.
22. Like, I had a car, but, like, it was just such a crazy time. Like,
Yeah.
it was like sink or swim.
You always hear that.
Like,
But you
yeah.
also hear that where you hear a bunch of people that go like, I don't understand anyone who would try to get into that business. It doesn't happen for anyone. You get in your car, you drive across, you're sleeping on friends' couches.
Yeah.
You're never going to make it. And we talked to all these people where that's the story. And they made it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they had their dream, they followed it, and they did what they had to do. And it's like, and then 2 weeks later I was on a show. Like, oh, come on. Like, you know, it happens. It does still happen.
Yeah.
It does still happen.
I think you really have to love the art and the craft of it. And even, dare I say it,
ramen.
You have to love the
frozen
business
burritos.
side. Right? Like you have to have the mindset of like, I'm not going to be deterred.
Yep.
I've got a dream. I believe in myself enough to know I have talent. And then you let it go from there. And it's like I remember I used to have like an acting coach that said the winners have amnesia. So like they don't remember the failures or whatever. It's just they're just so focused, right? They have blinders on.
So when I first moved out here and when I first moved out to LA, Christy, you had already booked Even Stevens and was whisked away to LA to film your TV show.
I was one of the New York kids that got out. I got out.
Me too.
You went to LA, and then there was like Lacey Chabert out. You out. Like who else?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you
Kim
were
Brown.
Like, I don't remember her, but you were around for, you know, in LA, like, you know, working and doing the thing for like many years before I got here. So when I got here, I remember like, you know, I was still kind of like new to LA, but then like that Emperor's New School, I went to some like Disney press junkets, and then I saw you for the first time. And I remember walking into the room and you were getting hair and makeup done, and you were like so like you'd been around, like you had been doing this, like you were like a mogul. You were like, yep, like and you were already up to Kim Possible. So you had done Even Stevens, you did Kim Possible. This was before Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
And then I remember hanging out with you. You were in your like G-Wagon, in your fancy apartment building, and I remember just being oh my god, like
she's awful. She's terrible.
I was a terrible person. I was terrible, and I spent all my money. Like, what the heck? Don't learn from me. Learn from Jess and from Will.
But you know what? It happened so young.
You're not a
like,
terrible person.
That was age appropriate, Christy. Like, you did what you should have been doing.
Fun.
Like, that was totally. Like, if
I had fun.
Yes.
Wow.
Like,
I will say that voiceover work, if you can really get it and figure out a way to make a living with it, it's more consistent. And I think it is. I think it's more rewarding. When people ask me at Comic-Cons, Christy, what are you most proud of? It's Kim Possible. It's like, I love the fact,
awesome.
you know what I mean? Like, that spans
that and
generations.
the G-Wagon. She says the G-Wagon.
I'm not proud about that G-Wagon.
She's like, the G-Wagon is what I'm the most proud of.
I was like,
God.
oh my god.
Oh my God.
So I was just like, wow. I was like a little country bumpkin, like just moved out to LA and like
from New York City.
Yeah, right, from New York City, from the small little burg of New York, of Manhattan.
But LA is different. Like, you don't have cars in New York, and like I'm like, Christy has arrived.
Yeah, there's 9 million cars in New York City. I've never met a single person that owns one. That's the weird thing about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
I didn't grow up with a car,
wow, thank you for
you're
that, Jess.
here,
I needed that.
and you've started to take over. You've started to take over the business. You're in every. Now, can I ask you a question? You said that when you came out here and it was the Rugrats kind of spinoff where you're sitting in the room, you're with EG and you're with Tara and you're like, oh my God, do I belong here? When did the feeling of I don't belong here, imposter syndrome go away?
Does it
and
ever
when
go
were you
away?
kind of like well, that's what I'm asking. Do you still have it every time you walk into the booth? Do you still walk in going, I don't belong in here with these people?
Like, it's funny because like even today, like I did this project this morning, and I just remember like having to give myself a little pep talk, and then like, you know, some people like they're like, wait, you're like, come on, like they were like, you belong there, you're fine, like don't, like, come on. And I was like, okay, yeah. I'm like, okay. But yes.
Who is it that tells you that? Is it your partner?
My mom.
Is it your agent?
Of
my
course.
mom told me.
I'm
good friends with Eric Bauza, so like sometimes I call him and like
talentless
just for that voice.
Talentless
Eric Bauza's voice.
Yeah.
And he always tells you to do it in the voice of Bugs Bunny, which he taught us to do. So that's what he's probably telling you the entire time. Like, you belong there. That's good. So, but it's nice to know. And I think people out there need to hear
Yeah.
But that it doesn't matter how much you're working. I mean, we haven't even talked about Bratz and everything else, where it's like you're doing these huge things, and you still walk in every time and go, I don't belong here. Like this is I do that all the time. It's like I still don't belong here.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely like, you know. Because, I mean, it's like a creative thing. And, like, every character that you do is, like, a new thing. It's, like, a new character. It's, like, you can definitely relax a little bit, like, when you've been doing a character for a while. Like, I'm sure you guys feel comfortable and confident in your Kim Possible characters, you know? But, like, when you're doing something new, like uncharted territory, you know, it's like,
very insecure.
Am I doing this right? Yeah.
I swear, we do these things on this show where we'll do Across the Garden later. And, like, every time I get put on the spot, and when we were at the Comic-Con last weekend, we have a live animator or illustrator rather, right, Will? And he handed me one, and Will turns to me and goes, "Do this voice." And we're in front of like 200-300 people. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh God.
But you killed it.
Oh, thank you. But it never gets easier because you're in your head and you're trying to process all this stuff in your body, and you're like, I just want to.
Yeah.
What do you do to make all of these characters so different? Because you really do. All these characters are so different.
You know, it took me so like. Okay, so there was a time where like I was doing a few like a bunch of characters that were so similar. Like to me, I was like from the outside, I'm like, oh my God, people probably think they're so similar. But you know what actually helped me? Watching John Dimaggio do like Star Wars panel where I think it was like the first time they did this, where they read the Star Wars script, but like it was like a panel of like, you know, it was like it was like famous, and they did like, you know, like Darth Vader as like Bubbles and like John Dimaggio, you know, so John did Jake and he did Bender, and really it's his voice, but when I watched him do it, and it's on YouTube, you can watch it. There's such different characters, even though it's still his voice. Like, there's such different characters, so you just have to lean into that, like what the actual character is, like what their personalities are. So as soon as you like lean into that, then I feel like you can remember and like, you know, differentiate and like So I remember that helped me. There's all these little things you learn along the way, you know.
He's a good one to watch too.
People you work with.
He's a good one to watch to do that kind of stuff where you see the character switches. He was our Draken and he was our Motorhead, and there was a couple of episodes where both the villains were on at the same time. And you just see, I mean, Bowser does this too, where you just jump back and forth, and it's this kind of crazy, you do have a ton of voices in your head, but you also know how to capture them, which is the amazing thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I think we have to get our guest is going to be joining us now. We have a guest joining us. So you know, Jessica, we do a little segment here that we call Across the Garden, where we get to bring in an amateur voiceover actor who gets to step up to the microphone and show what they are made of. And we are going to be joined today by Chris Johnson, who's coming in. We're very, very excited to have Chris with us. Hey, Chris.
Oh, my God. How did these people get in my house?
Nice. Oh, look, all set up and ready to go.
Look how
absolutely love that. Where are you, Chris?
Gosh, she has a better mic than me.
He does.
Welcome to my Franken booth. I appreciate it.
Like it. Where are you located, Chris?
I'm out of Columbus, Ohio.
Nice. I love me some Columbus, Ohio, with the 1 pound pizza slice, the Bronx Bomber.
Oh my gosh, yes. We have a big cheese problem here in Ohio, and
there's no such thing, my friend, unless there's not enough. Yeah, exactly. So have you wanted to be... Well, first of all, hello, welcome. This is Jessica, and this is Christy, and I'm Will.
Chris.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to actually meet you guys in person. This is so crazy.
Yeah.
We are so excited to have you join us. Did you get your script?
I did. I love it. I think it's great.
And you will be playing Wally.
It's weird. I've never played a gopher before, you know, so why not?
There you go. So we've got Wally the gopher. If everybody recalls, Christy and I play two little mice called Mocha and Ricky, who were named very quickly without any thought whatsoever. And Christy and I still to this day go, I wish we'd done that better and named them differently. But Mocha and Ricky are trying to get across the garden to get to, I think, Mocha's boyfriend, who is at the mall. This is becoming a very long trek to actually get
I feel like the relationship might be on the rocks a little bit, Will.
We'll have to see. We never know what happens, Chris, in the world of animation. But we are going to, I'm also going to be reading the stage directions so everyone can follow us at home. But then our hope, our goal, and for all of you amateur animators out there also listening, is going to be to have these segments animated to make one cartoon so everybody who got to come on and join us gets to be in their very own animated show.
Oh
so
my God,
it's
I
going to
love
be
that. That's so cool.
A ton of fun. We can't wait. So if you are an amateur animator out there and you want to show your chops as well and what you're made of, please hit us up at Christy. Do we have the what is it? The Instagram page, right?
Yeah, it's I Hear Voices podcast.
I Hear Voices podcast on Instagram, and you can hit us up, and we can send you all of the raw material that we have here with these amazing actors and incredible amateur voiceover actors, and we will put together this wonderful cartoon. By the time we're done, unfortunately, it's going to be 32 hours long, so it's going to be a long episode.
We're going to have to cut a season.
Exactly. We are. Chris is exactly right. It is going to be like the last episode of Stranger Things, where you're like, is this really 2.5 hours long? But it is. So here we are once again, and we are going to pick up where we left off. As memory serves, Ricky and Mocha were, well, still looking for the mall. So here we are, everybody. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. So we fade in. We are exterior woods continuous. Mocha and Ricky continue their journey. Mocha, are you sure your boyfriend is worth all of this?
Of course he is. He's the best person I've ever met. I really hate him, though.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, that's dating. Besides, it hasn't been that bad.
Just as she says that, the two mice step on a tripwire and activate a trap. A log, of course of mice proportions, swings down and knocks them both out.
Ugh!
Time lapse. Interior tree later. A voice.
Are you awake over there? I'd open up them eyes if I was you. You want to be with it before she gets back.
Ricky and Mocha stir. We can see they're now tied up in a little tree jail. They look around the room and find Wally the gopher also tied up in the cell. Ouch, and ouch again.
Yeah, I'm guessing you done stepped in one of her traps. They can right hurt, they can.
The giant log to the head, you don't say.
But I thought I did.
Okay, you said we should be awake for when she gets back?
Actually, he said gets.
All it means the same.
Who is she?
No Three Arms the pirate. She's the scourge of these here parts. Only wanting one thing, old No Three Arms does.
A better name?
No gold! And lots of it, that's why I'm here. She thinks I got a ton of hidden gold.
From the darkness we hear.
Harg! And you ain't going no place until you give it to me.
This is like the second strangest garden I've ever been in.
Seriously. Both Wally and No Three Arms look to Ricky and Mocha.
Second?
Baltimore, yeah.
Yeah, Baltimore was awful.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The pirate then finds a shaft of light and strikes a pose.
Allow me to introduce myself. I be No Three Arms the pirate, scourge of these parts and seeker of gold.
Yeah, we've been briefed.
Why do they call you No Three Arms?
I mean, isn't it obvious?
Crickets.
I only have 2 arms!
Crickets again.
But all of us here only have 2 arms, so...
Yeah, why not just call yourself like No Three Eyes the pirate?
Well, guy in Maine calls himself that.
No 3 feet?
Sorry, good one.
But no, it's not. You stop trying to rename me. Now, about that gold.
Oh, I done told you. I ain't got none.
Then why do you have all this prospector's equipment?
Well, that's just it. I just bought me that stuff, and I was on my way out there to find the gold when your trap done snatched me.
Oh, wow. I am so sorry. I thought you had the gold already.
Nope, on my way to get it.
Oh, geez. Well, here you go.
She unties his arms.
All right, now, back to the pirate. How's about you? Do you have me gold?
Nope.
Definitely not.
Mm-mm.
Okay, then.
She undoes the bindings.
Guess I'm 0 for 3.
Yeah. Okay, just real quick, the mall.
Yeah, sure. Up 3 trees and follow the grass line.
Thank you, I guess.
Almost makes you miss Baltimore.
For real.
Yay! And scene. Chris,
What
you were
a
awesome.
Yay!
Thank you.
No
Oh my
notes.
gosh.
No notes.
No
Chris,
notes.
you are
We should
awesome.
record the next one. I'm kidding.
Chris, no
Oh
notes.
gosh.
So
You guys are
good.
so great.
Chris,
Great
tell us
work.
a little bit about yourself. Where can everybody find you on socials if they're looking for you?
Yeah, totally. I actually host a bad movies but not bad movies podcast with 3 of my best friends in the entire world. You can find us. It's a Trash Watch podcast where sometimes the movies are trash, but most of the time they're everyone's treasure. This last week we talked about the 1984
Rad.
Ghostbusters, my favorite
Which is
movie.
the best movie ever. If you say
Yes.
rad one
Right?
more time in the same word as trash, Christy, I'm going to find my way to Texas
Rad.
and come
That's
hit you. Not going to happen.
That came up this week. We were talking about that too. I'm like, we can't talk bad about Rad because it's so good, and Will never talk to me again. You know?
Thank you. Exactly. The best movie. Have you seen it yet, Christy? I'm not even going to get started. And how
I'd
about
rather watch Naked and Afraid, okay?
Wow. We're not even going to get into that. Not even going to get into that.
Oh my gosh.
How about your personal socials, Chris?
You can follow me on TikTok. I go under Mostly Stories 86. And I just wanted to say again, like, thank you guys again for doing what you do. You were such a big inspiration for me this last year. I grew up in a small town in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have a ton of friends growing up. And being a part of like a Saturday morning animation block was kind of like having my friends over every weekend. So it was a lot for me just to be like, you know what? I'm 35, which is crazy to think trying to start this thing, but you know what? I want to do it, and I want to do it because I want to be somebody's, inspiration as a kid too. I think we all need that right now.
Dude, you are
Wow.
so talented.
That is
Aw,
we love you,
awesome,
Chris.
I love you
Chris.
guys. Like, I listen to you
That's
literally every day.
That's awesome. Well, I'm
Oh.
telling you something. You've certainly got the talent. So it's then just about getting the opportunity, and that leads us to something where we can't say exactly what yet, Chris. But this is
Okay.
for everybody out there. Where we're going to be making a pretty major announcement here on I Hear Voices, and it's going to be something that's a lot of fun. And the voiceover world will never be the same again. Is that too big to
my
say?
God.
I don't think it is.
I'm intrigued.
No, I think it is.
I
Yeah.
think so. So we appreciate you joining us, Chris, and keep up all the good work. Everybody go check out Chris's stuff. The podcast sounds awesome as long as they don't touch Rad. We're good.
Oh, trust me, I defend everybody. I don't dislike a single movie. That's my rule.
I love. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Exactly.
And so thank you so much for joining us. You
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park, my friend. This is very,
Well
very
done.
cool.
And
So
Jessica,
much
thank you
heart.
so much. Can I
Oh,
just
yeah.
really quickly? I'm so sorry, Jessica.
Please,
Olette
please.
is seriously my favorite Kingdom Hearts 2 character of all
Oh my
time.
god.
I think she's so underrated, and she got such like a bad rap because like she's not in it that long, but you connect with everybody so well, and I'm just over the
Oh
moon
my
about
God.
it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I-
you.
I'm
Kingdom
just gonna
Hearts
say this is
2.
my
Jessica,
favorite.
that's another one. Another
She's
one we
my-
were both
Are
in
you
together
kidding?
and we haven't
Oh,
talked about.
okay. That's so funny.
Whoa, 2? Not the second
you
one.
into
The
2?
first one. I was
Yeah,
Yuffie
well-
on the first one.
Well, Chris,
my gosh.
yeah, Chris, you have so much like heart and nuance in what you were doing. Like, I just want to say, like, keep doing that. Like, you were so grounded and natural and realistic and like, it felt very grounded and real, which was like amazing. So good work. You put so much heart
Thank
into
you.
it.
Thank you so much. Oh,
And by the
thank
way,
guys.
you
just made my
joined
whole
us.
year.
Yeah, you joined us right after Jessica told us an amazing story about packing a bag with 2 weeks worth of clothes and
Yeah.
driving out to Los Angeles and sleeping on friends' couches. And then she started booking left and right. So it still
right.
happens, Chris. It
So,
doesn't matter how
Will,
old
do
you
you
are.
have a
it still
couch I can
happens.
crash on?
Of course, my address is. You can do it, Chris.
my
I'm
gosh.
telling you, it is not impossible. We've all done it. It is not something that is like, nope, I can't possibly. I'm from a small town in Connecticut. So is Christy. Jessica's from a small town called Manhattan. So absolutely,
one,
it can
yeah.
happen. And keep up with it, man, because you were great.
yeah, keep
Awesome.
challenging
Good work.
yourself. You've got a lot of talent. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us, Chris.
guys.
Bye, hon.
Bye. Man,
Oh,
that was
wow.
great.
Cute.
He was so
awesome.
talented, man.
He was really, really good.
He was one of the best.
And that's what we get here on I Hear Voices. So we are
Really?
getting some people that maybe wouldn't have had the opportunity anywhere else to just come on and show how good they are or can be given the opportunity. So that's something that
Seriously,
we're very happy about.
we didn't even scratch the surface with Jessica's like recent or just in the last 10 years work. Like she's done, like we said, Kingdom Hearts, freaking Adventure Time.
Oh yeah, no, it's
like,
well, this is the joy, another joy, I'm sorry, of this show, because we only do like half of the show or 3/4 of the show of the interview, which means we get to bring everybody back.
Oh, wouldn't that be
which
nice?
Which is the fun part. I mean, I think Andrea Romano, we talked to Andrea for almost an hour, it was like 45 minutes, and we were up to 1983.
Oh my
so
God.
It was like, yeah, there is so many people out there with awesome stories. And again, Jessica, yeah, we just scratched the surface. We were both in Kingdom Hearts 2 and still never met.
Which I was fired from, so that's awkward.
Wait, what happened?
That wasn't a stipulation on my part.
I'm sure it was Will's fault. No, basically, Mae Whitman replaced my voice as Yuffie, and I'm pretty sure that the director didn't like me, but I loved. You know why? Because it was my freaking G-Wagon. That's what it was.
It was your G. You rolled up in the G-Wagon and you got fired.
I don't like this girl. Yep, no worries. I love Mae Whitman, so it's all good. It's
Mae.
Oh,
yeah, I remember.
That is so funny.
Well, yeah.
So, Jessica, if we were to invite you to come back, would you come back?
Yes,
because we have
I would love
so much left to talk about.
Yes,
because,
I love talking
Christy's
to you guys.
Right.
This is so awesome.
We scratched the surface with all the amazing stuff you've done. And what do you have coming out, working on right now, and where can everybody find you on socials?
That you can talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I did have a cool one today, which I can't mention. But I'm on Instagram. That's all I have time for these days with my little ones. But Instagram, I'm at Jessica DiCicco, DiCicco. And like what stuff do I have coming out? There's Close Enough on HBO Max. There's, I think, The Three Caballeros on Disney. I think that was made for Disney Plus, but I think they're just starting to air it on Disney, but I'm not sure. I have to check on that. Anyway, another season of Loud House. I have this cool project I'm working on in like a British project, like a BBC project, which is like I'm so excited.
Do you have a British accent?
No.
Do you have a British accent in it? Okay.
No. I don't have a British accent in it. I play an evil character, and I think your kids might. It's based on a book series that's like actually big there. And I think your kids would like it.
I know what it is. I think I know what it is.
We'll talk about it off microphone
I love
here.
that though. I love that.
Oh my! And
that's
then
exciting.
the NDA stuff. Yeah, so you've got a bunch of stuff coming out. Again, we didn't even get to Loud House, and we didn't really talk about Bratz, and we didn't. I mean, there's so much left to talk about with you, Jessica. So you're gonna have to join us again.
Tell your mother, tell your sister I said hello.
I will.
I miss them. I love them. You get back to directing when you can.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Hopefully we can brainstorm and
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I can tell you that I will absolutely be front and center for Innie and Outie. Let's put it that way.
I bet you will.
Yes.
I love how it's a show about an inverted belly button and an outverted belly button.
I have a feeling that one's pregnant, one's not. One is somebody that's about to have a baby with an outie, and one is the innie, and who the innie is in relation to the mother, and how that...
Wow, I think you're giving a backstory to something that probably doesn't deserve this much thought, if I'm honest with you.
Dude, we missed the boat. We should have done this when we were both pregnant.
Exactly, I know.
Outie
can't you just hire two pregnant women and then you guys do the voices? I mean, isn't that just
right.
the easiest way to do it?
You're so smart.
To recast every 9 months.
By the way, anybody out there listening to our show who has original footage or can find anything about Innie and Outie,
yes,
also
please.
hit us up at I Hear Voices Podcast, please, on
Maybe
Instagram.
Maybe like the troll who works in the archive in the dungeon at Viacom.
I feel like
I love it.
Oh my gosh, I feel like my
the girl
mom
whose
hoarded
head,
it as well. By the way,
what was it? The girl whose head fell off, or what was that one called?
The girl with her head coming off. I have VHS of that somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll find it. I think I have.
Please find that and send it to us.
Yeah,
because those are all going up on the
Trust me, it's on my
Insta.
list. Yeah, I have to find it somewhere.
Well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us.
So great talking to you guys. Yes,
and that you're coming back to help us again because we're gonna make you because we got too much left to talk about.
Yay!
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jess.
Hey, are you guys going to Comic-Con?
Yes.
I hear voices.